Okay, it says we're live. Yeah, I'm not sure. I decided to start a little bit early, but I'm going to just say hello in the chat, and whoever says hello back has joined us. We are going to do something art and also something kind of like baking today, and that's kind of the plan. But I don't really want to get too complicated until I know somebody's joined us. And so I'm just going to start, and 1 o'clock, whether we got somebody or not, we'll dive right in. But I want to introduce you to this little guy. Just going to turn the camera down. So this is actually just a spoon, but it's a smile face spoon. And I bought this when I was in the States, like, I don't know, 7 years ago. It was quite a while ago, but it's been a really great spoon in my house, and I just like how it smiles. And at the same time, I bought this trivet. So it's just supposed to be like a little square that things sit on. We'll use it today to just keep the material we're working with from wiggling too much. But I bought them together, and I just have always liked that if I close this like that, the arms hold on to this little guy. So it's kind of like a giraffe. Let's see if I can get it to grip. There we go. And yeah, it's a funny figurine, just kind of made by accident. Maybe if I go this way, let me see if I can make it work better. I'm just fiddling around with this while we're waiting for people to be certainly joining us. Yeah, I just want to say I did get a chance. I mean, we're returning to classes, not classes, but returning to the building on June 1st, and just reminding people that that's the kind of the plan. And that, yeah, he's got a little tail, and if I just turn his head, then I've got a little giraffe, or maybe a little creature, and he just kind of walks across the table. Yeah, but anyway, this does have a multiple purpose. It's a multiple purpose solution because he's also going to be used to stir our mixture today. So we're making an art material that's called baker's clay. And baker's clay is great. And the reason it's great is because almost everybody universally can make this just on the fly any day they want to. Because it's just 3 ingredients, and one of them is water. And if you don't have access to water, there's bigger fish to fry. So flour and salt are the other two. So flour, salt, and water, mix them together, and you get it's like bread without the complexity of yeast. So there's no bubbles that are going to form. It's just going to turn into kind of a brick-like material that's like a clay. It's not the best clay in the world. There are better clays out there. But it is the one that everybody has access to, and even for all of its challenges, it's one of the best. Oh, there we go. We've got Marie. So Marie is signed on to do kind of moderating. If I can't answer a question and somebody has a question, she's the one who's gonna answer. Let me know that people are asking things. So it's nice to have her assisting me as we're doing some learning on here. So this is an art task, and it's going to be a 2-phase thing. So I'll spend some time on it today, and I'll spend some time on it tomorrow, because I don't want you guys to have to watch this live stream for 20 minutes while I'm baking, because it takes 20 minutes to bake. So that part we'll do off camera, and then we'll paint it tomorrow. So one of my favorite things about baker's clay is phase 2, which is after I've made a sculpture, how do I turn it into a beautiful artwork? And that's the sculpture becomes a canvas to paint on. That's a good description. Yeah, if you guys have any questions about this process, you can definitely throw them on the chat, and I will do my best to answer them as I'm able. But yeah, I think we might. I see we have multiple. Yeah, I'm encouraging people if you're there to say hello, because I see we've got 2 viewers. So just let me know you're there. But I am gonna dive in now that it's 1 o'clock and show you guys the plan. So a lot of people don't like my approach to baking, because there's baking as an opportunity for math, you guys, and science. And I waste those opportunities because I always just eyeball my baking. So I have a tendency to just keep mixing things until they look right. And the nice thing about that is that people can kind of all do that procedure, because you don't need measuring tools. So I'm going to turn the camera down at this point so that it's looking at my bowl. All right, this is flour. So this is like whole wheat flour, which is going to make it a little grainy, but I can live with that. And I'm putting in pretty much a cup. So that's like half of what was in this bowl. And then I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of salt. So then, it sounds like, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but off camera, it sounds like Alex has turned a little grumpy. I'm not sure, but it is, sometimes 1 o'clock is just like past her bedtime. I'm going to incorporate that salt into the flour just a little bit, just so that the 2 exist. So salt has this funny scientific property that when I add it to water, it's like it makes these little fingers that intertwine. And that's why salt is nice in baking, is because you can imagine the molecules of salt being like little bricks. And then when you add water, the salt becomes like little fingers, and then the little fingers interlock, and as it dries or as it bakes, that becomes a solid bond. So that's the nice thing about salt. And flour kind of behaves like that too. So both flour and salt together, you're looking at a good opportunity to make something. So yeah, I'm going to add, I don't know, 1/3 of a cup water. Let's see. I'll just show you guys what that looks like. So I'm stirring this up, and I'm not adding too much water at first because I want this to kind of form up, and I want it to take a measure of how it's turned out, because I don't want it to be too sticky, and I don't want it to be too dry. So just having experienced this long enough, I know I'm actually on the right track. This looks like what I want it to look like, which is kind of, it looks a little bit like, my thumb's in the way. It looks a little bit like oatmeal. So I'm going to encourage you guys, if you're watching this, during the live stream or afterwards, to try this for yourself, because this is a recipe, but it's not an eating recipe. I'm going to make artwork with this. I might have made this exactly right, which is a surprise. This is my broadcasting table, and I'd rather not make it messy, so I'm going to grab a cutting board. Like with a lot of flour recipes, we are going to try to make this, try to work some proteins into this. So the proteins that I'm working into, when I work flour with salt and water, I'm actually producing this gluten, because what's happening, gluten is actually just the outcome of the protein that's kind of produced when flour is worked. The more it's worked, the more kind of like gluten gets into the system. So yeah, it's funny. I've been doing this a while, and I kind of have a picture of how I want this clay to look, and I think I nailed it on my first try. It's one of the things that's kind of sad about my method of not having ingredients, not having measurements, is that once in a while it gets to be exactly right. Then I'm like, boy, I kind of wish I'd written that down, so I know next time how to get it exactly right. Maybe it's a little sticky, but I do still have some flour to work into it. So you can see that it has. I'm gonna try. Yesterday I was telling you guys that my computer stopped working. It was misbehaving, and that could be related to the amount of flour that gets stuck on this thing and paint, and I mean, I'm not dropping water on it, but I certainly am not babying this laptop. It's being used actively. So yeah, this is like what I would want. So here's some math. I was talking about my failure to make math opportunities, but we've got dough, and if I fold it, I've folded it twice now, so that means that there's 4 layers of dough. And now I'm folding it again, and each time it doubles. That's 8. Folding it again, that's 16 layers. So I've made 16 layers of dough. So all these layers are kind of combining and bonding together, and it's in those bonds that we start seeing proteins build up. So I'm just adding more flour so this doesn't stick to my hands. But I mean, it is the right kind of consistency. So 16 layers. We've got 32. I wonder how long you guys can double along here. This is as math opportunities go. 32, 64. So I'm doubling it each time. So now we've gone, like, we've only folded it a certain number of times, but in those certain number of times we've gotten quite a few layers in this thing. And it's starting to really be a nice, I'll bring that closer to the, it's starting to be a really nice kind of consistency. It's like flattened and smooth, and that's what I want. But let's do some more layers. So where were we at? 64. Now we're at 128. This is where it starts to get complicated. This is where my math starts to fail. 128 plus 128 is 140 plus 16. So 150 or 256. All right. So 256 layers. And now let's fold it again, but I'm going to do myself a favor. And let's pretend that it's only 500 layers. That way, the math gets a little easier. So this is 500 layers. That's 1,000. I'm still doubling. 2,000. Look at that. So the point of this, you guys have been watching me fold for 5 minutes, is that the more that I fold, the smoother this becomes. And the smoother it becomes, the easier it is to work. But I have a really nice doughy structure. So I have a couple of goals with this. But what I'm going to do, let me see what I have. Yeah, I'm going to flatten it out. So this is kind of like if I'd added baking soda, or baking powder, sorry, I would kind of have the tools to make a nice biscuit at this point. And so I'm going to do a method that I learned using biscuits, which is that for this structure, I'm just going to make it flat, and then I'm going to cut it out. So I'm a gamer, and so this artistic process, I'm going to make a symbol from one of my games. So I still have this much clay left, and I'm open to suggestions. If somebody wants to get on the chat, I'm going to just even hop on there for a second. And I'm just going to ask, what should I make? With the extra question mark. All right, so there we are. So I have extra, but now I have this triangle, and I'm actually going to make, from the Legend of Zelda, I'm going to make the Triforce. So the Triforce is a symbol of power in the video game Legend of Zelda, which is one that I grew up with and love and enjoy. So all I have right now is a triangle, but I'm actually going to turn that triangle into 3 triangles, and I'll show you how. I'm just going to get a butter knife. A lot of tools you could use, but I just want to remove some dough. Oh, there you go, a heart. I am going to guess that is Jaden suggesting a heart, but that's just a guess. So I'm going to make my Triforce first, but I'm going to keep adding to this, and then I'll make. Did we make a heart? Maybe we made a heart. Yeah, I think I agree with Marie. That is a nice suggestion. I believe in the power of love. And so when we make a symbol of a heart, we are sharing that kind of like the belief in that power, because a heart is a symbol of love. And so love is so vital to a person's life. And so when we have a heart on our shirt, that just tells people that we believe in it as well. So I'm going to make, first of all, this Triforce by cutting a triangle out of this triangle. Ooh. So you can see I've been cutting, I think I have my hand in the way, but that is a triangle right there. So just going to clean that up a little bit. Use my tool. So I wanted to leave a little bit of edge on there because when I bake this, I want it to stay together. But there is my Legend of Zelda Triforce symbol. So when I paint this, I'll paint it yellow, and then it will be a recognizable. Oh, I think I probably want to straighten this out a little bit. Just looking at how it turned out and trying to get symmetry for the system. There we go. And we'll add that little extra triangle to this. And then I'm just going to move this. Boy, how was it feeling? Oh, good. Did we live? Oh, it's kind of like turned into a crown. But I think I can reconnect this. Let's see. There we go. Maybe a little bit of water. And we'll still just using the water as like a glue. That's my tip for how to reconnect things that just broke because you were not paying attention. There we go. I'm going to be back in a second. I'm just going to throw this one on a pan. Throw it in the oven. You guys can probably see me, right? There. Yeah. Hard to see me, but I'm there. Yeah. Did you say turn off the oven? Oh yeah, sure. My wife is worried about, I'll carry these over here. She's reminding me that blueberries were sitting on the oven. We don't want the oven to vent hot air and ruin perfectly good blueberries. All right. So the suggestion is that we make a heart. So I'm going to use that same method. Flatten this out. We don't want it to be too thick. Actually, if it was too thick, if it was more than an inch thick, there's a chance it will explode in the oven. You can punch holes in it with a fork and then it won't. But just for the sake of safety, make it a little thinner. Safety first, like I always say. Right, Marie? Marie knows that's something like my policy. All right, so I'm just cutting. So far, it looks like I'm making another triangle. But now that I have a teardrop, I'm going to start curving in like that. Kind of cut a wave out of the top of it. And then there is my heart. So, if I wanted to make this, this will turn into, I've had things that I've made out of baker's clay become permanent. And so if I wanted to make someone a heart that they could keep forever, not forever, but for many, many years, I could make this. And then when I paint it tomorrow, you know, I can paint like a little message in here. You know, that maybe I can just say, I believe in love, write it in Sharpie. Oh, I'm glad. Marie said, how long do we bake it? So this is not for eating. I would remind people, it looks delicious, and it actually will smell delicious too, and it'll be a lot like a biscuit, but very salty. The amount of salt that I put in here is a nasty amount of salt. And also, it's been handled quite a bit. It also fell on the floor. So, there you go. Yeah. You know what? I miss you guys too. That's actually funny. I did stop in today, but I didn't get a chance to stay too long. I was quite busy today, but I did stop in and say hello. And people will get a chance to catch up with us soon, because June 1st is our day back, our first day back. So we'll be doing some catching up at that point. I'm just softening. Like the other one, the Triforce, I wanted to have sharp edges, but the heart, I can make it like more curved and soft edges, and that'll be pretty. So there's a heart. And we have one more thing. So I'm open to one more suggestion that's not a heart. Maybe we want to see something a little bit. These have both been flat, but we can just certainly carve textures into this. So if someone has a suggestion while I'm throwing this one in the oven, by all means, suggest it. Live stream, you guys get to see me. Oh, that's not a bad idea. Marie says put a hole in the heart, and then it could be a window hanger. Yeah, and that's actually smart. Oh, a circle. Yeah, I mean, I can make a circle. That's not a challenge, but I'm into that. I'll actually show you guys. There's a good skill for making a circle, which is to take advantage of the and a star too. Yeah, we can take advantage of a funny rule to make a circle, because it's very hard to make a perfect circle unless you know a trick. So I'll show you this. And working clay is actually, my dad's a potter. Makes pottery like that. So my experience with clay, I can do both a star and a circle, but my experience with clay is pretty extensive, despite the fact of not being a potter myself. So I've made this, just taken a piece and made it into a ball, and then I roll it. I roll it in my hands a little loosely, and when I roll it, it will, oh boy, I didn't quite do it. It should produce a pretty reasonable ball shape. And then if I have a ball shape, I can just take my hand and press it, and it will become a circle. Yeah, not perfectly uniform, but it's a pretty good circle. You know, better than if I was to try to draw out a circle and then press it into that circle shape. Yeah, so there's my circle. And for this one, just for the sake of Marie asking, I can put a hole in it. I'm just looking for a tool that might do that. Look at this, I have a drill. I don't need a drill for this, but it does make the job easier. You could just use anything to punch it, but a drill is designed to make holes. So there's, let's show that from a better angle. There's my circle with a hole in it, and then I can make that into like a pendant. You know, I can make this when it's finished, I could sand it and make it super smooth, and I can coat it and make it super shiny, or make it look like metal. There's a lot that I can do with the next step, which is the artistic step. Oh, Marie says I should make this into a smile face. All right, yeah, I did say that I wanted things to be sculptural, so let's do this. You guys know smile cookies? I like smile cookies. Or sorry, smile potatoes. So now I've made 2 holes instead of 1. And I'm just going to use my carving tool, put a little smile face in there. There you go. So I'll show you with this last bit. We're talking about making a star, and maybe I'll make a star, but I'll show you with this last bit one challenge that you face when you make this stuff. Oh, sorry, the camera was pointed down, or else you would have seen my amazing oven skills. Alright. If I was to take this clay, which does behave like a lot of clays, and I wanted to make someone that's like a creature, like a sculpture of a person. So I'm just going to make a couple legs, arms, and a head. Just simple. So there's my person. And we'll just get him to stand like this. Point this back down. If I threw this in the oven, it's a good chance it's going to bend and it's going to smoosh. And it won't be what I imagine when I'm finished. So you have to be careful structurally that whatever you make is supported. So that's why I like to make flat structures. Flat structures are just friendlier. All right. So, oh yeah, make a star. And I'll put a hole in this one too, and then we can have. This is like one of the classroom uses for this is really commonly ornaments at Christmas. People like to do baker's clay ornaments at Christmas. Oh, I almost made a star. The only one I messed up was really just this. I feel like I messed up this corner right here. Doesn't look star shaped, but I think I can steal from this one and reshape it until it does. Maybe I made a starfish, because they don't have to be a perfect star shape. There you go. There's my star. Drill a hole in that, and I've got a Christmas ornament. I could cover it in glitter, make it fancy. There, a little star. All right, so this one can sit with me. We've made some things, and that's an art task that I know you guys have the supplies for, and I'm going to encourage you to now try to make your own structures. I'm just fussing with that star. To make your own flat sculptures and then bake them, and then we can paint them together if you want tomorrow. Unless I encouraged you guys to give some thought to Thursday and Friday. What do we want to see? Because if we want to see something, I'll try my best to do it, because there's a pretty good chance I won't be able to live stream. Probably Friday will be my last day, but the good news is then I will be able to stop in and say hello at 1, and I'm almost as interesting in person as I am on video. So something to look forward to, I guess. Yeah, so I'm going to sign out. Oh, I think Marie asked how long. So I bake them. I like to bake them for 20 minutes. So it's going in the oven. I have a thing that's called oven temperature. Like anything, I'm very unspecific about numbers and measurements. But usually oven temperature is like 350 or 325, somewhere around there, for 20 minutes. And then it comes out as a nice baked solid structure. If you go too long, then it'll darken. But, you know, you can still fix that with paint. You just don't want them to burn. On again. Okay. Yeah, there you go. I just noticed. Oh, okay. My computer's needing batteries. So give me a second. My computer's about to shut down. Yeah, there we are. So I managed to get some flour on my fingers. That looks lovely, hey? But yeah, it just connects to what I always tell you guys, which is that oh, okay. I'm not sure, I just missed a message, but yeah, I encourage you guys to wash your hands. And if you do something like this, and you wash your hands, and then you find that you still have flour stuck to your hands, that means that you're not doing it well enough, which is why I'm encouraging people to do the 20 seconds. Get some water on there, warm water, soap, and then water again, getting all that soap off. And be sure to get, every finger individually and get down below your wrist. And that's what that 20 seconds is about. So, this is a good reminder of that. So I'm going to sign out like I always do, tell you guys to wash your hands for 20 seconds at a time as often as you can, and to remember to take care of each other. Thanks for tuning in. See you tomorrow. Bye.